Hello everyone, this is Do a Dreamer. So, a few days ago, we found out about an incident that happened in Chicago where a white 18-year-old male with special needs was kidnapped by 4 black adults. And they bind him up, they tortured him, made fun of him, made him do disgusting things. And while doing this, they're shouting, F white people, F Donald Trump. Now, how I knew about this? Well, it was on Facebook. These 4 individuals who were doing this to this person have this on Facebook. Live for a whole world to see. Now, granted, it got taken down. But I saw the video on WorldStar. And I have to say, I was sick to my stomach seeing that. Very sick to my stomach. Now, I can go on and say a lot of bad things about these 4. But that would be an understatement. And I'll be just regurgitating what a lot of people are thinking. But the thing that really disturbs me is when I see, hear, and read that there are people out there trying to analyze this situation to make it seem that it wasn't a hate crime, giving these individuals justification or an excuse as to why they did what they did. Like, I'm hearing, oh, they're just troubled teens, kids will be kids. I'm sorry, but 3 of them were 18, 1 of them was 24. They weren't kids anymore. They're adults. So, I don't buy into that whole spiel saying kids will be kids. Yes, 3 of them were still in high school, but the bottom line was they are adults. According to the United States, once you're 18, you are considered an official adult. So they knew better. So it has nothing to do with troubled teens or troubled kids, bad upbringing bullshit. Stop making that excuse. The other I'm hearing about is, well, it's not a hate crime. There's no evidence of it being a hate crime. What do you mean there's no evidence that it's a hate crime? You saw it for yourselves, guys. How they're saying, F white people, F Donald Trump. Of course that's a freaking hate crime. Oh, we don't know the motive behind it, but picture's worth 1,000 words right there. Come on, guys. Wake up. And even if it wasn't racially motivated, and I hear people saying, well, they're probably just making fun of him and harassing him because he's special needs, I can still consider that as a hate crime. It's hatred towards humanity, in my opinion, because he's different, because of something that he couldn't control. Kind of like your race. You can't control how you are when you were born. And there's some disabilities out there that it's beyond our control. It happens. So yeah, I still consider it as a hate crime. And it's funny that they don't think, the 2 sides of the coin on this. Because let's face the facts here, people. If situations... No. I'm not going to say situation because that's cliche. But let's say this. If color was reversed on this, you know for a fact people is going to shout hate crime, hate crime, hate crime, and all that bullshit. If those 4 white people kidnap a black person, start torturing them and filming it, and shouting, F black people, F Obama. Right away, people are going to say, this is a hate crime. Right away, within a split second, you hear people like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton saying, this needs to stop, this needs to stop. And yet it's funny that we haven't heard anything from them with this incident right now. How these 4 individuals is making the black community look bad. And that's what bugs me too. And instead of trying to reach out and say, we gotta stop doing this, you're making us look bad, they're making excuses. Making excuses, trying to justify them, saying, oh, they're not evil. What I saw was evil. It was cruel. Like I said, if situation were reversed, everyone would lose their shit. Seriously, they would. Hate crime shouldn't be just when something bad happens to a person of color or a person of a different race and someone from the outside does that to the other. Like, say a person who's white does something bad to a black person, an Asian person, whatever. Civil rights applies to everyone, guys. It wasn't just applied to black people. Yes, it was intended to help the black community in the past. But it was also meant for everybody. This whole double standard of allowing people to do bad things to them just because that there was a history of one side did this to the other, and then it's okay for that person that was abused to abuse them and get away with it. That needs to stop, guys. Seriously, that needs to stop. And if it doesn't, then the hate is going to continue. Now, am I saying what happened in the past should be forgotten? No. Never forget. Never forget what happened. But never, ever use that as a justification to do these negative acts. Because it's only going to spread more hate. Especially with today's youth. Acting as if that they know what oppression is. You don't know jack shit about oppression. Yes, there is some oppression going on here in our day and age. But it was a lot worse back in the day. And I've talked to my mother about it. She went through that. My grandmother went through that. And she was glad that I didn't have to go through it, even though, yes, racism is still alive and well. Bottom line on this, people, is, yes, a lot of bad things has happened. From black people being shot by crooked cops. From, yes, even Donald Trump being president. Yes, I'm not happy that Trump is president, but do you see me going out there and terrorizing people? No. And I get there are people out there of why they're concerned about Trump being president. I understand it perfectly, because I'm concerned about that too. But I'm not lashing out on innocent people. That's the problem. And again, what happened in the past should stay in the past. Don't forget it, but don't use it as a justification to do negative actions. And people out there, stop making damn excuses. Because God forbid if the situation or the color was reversed, there wouldn't be no analyzing this and analyzing that. They'll go right straight to saying it's a hate crime. We gotta stop doing this to each other. We as people of the black community need to stop doing this to each other. If you want people to take us seriously, especially with Black Lives Matter, then these type of acts need to stop. And the people who are representing Black Lives Matter need to stand up and tell these individuals that you're making us look bad. You're making this movement look like a joke, and it already is a freaking joke. This whole thing's not going to stop until someone important stand up. Someone like Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson to stand up and tell these people that we need to stop acting like this. Instead of being fueled by the hatred of what happened in the past. Again, like seriously, again, don't use that as a justification. Be happy that for some of us who were not raised during that time, be glad you weren't there to experience it. And yes, again, racism still exists till this very day. It still exists to this very day. But if we continue to do these type of acts, then the hate is going to continue to grow and grow, and then one day we might end up just like our ancestors. And I don't want that to happen. Stop making excuses for these people. And most importantly, stop using the past to justify your actions. And as for Donald Trump, I'm not happy about it. I didn't vote for him. But don't take it out on innocent people who are using their God-given right of freedom of opinion and a freedom to vote who they feel is going to be their next leader. Because if we continue to do this, we're no better than the Nazis. We're no better than communism. Is that what you really want? Leave your comments down below and tell me what you guys think.